The Modern Matters Podcast.
Guys, AI is still created by humans and being modified and perfected by humans. So, like all things, there's no perfect.
I think we have to be careful, though. I really.
Do. I'm not saying.
So here's the thing. I did a deep dive after, and I followed Kevin Roos's story because he did some follow-ups, and it was all rationalized out. And so all the little snippets that he did for the news were his initial reactions and what happened. But these are, ChatGPT specifically is a large language model, right? And it uses predictive language. So it's trained on these data sets that is basically all of the internet. Well, when all of the internet is talking about AI, we always slip into the end of the world, doomsday, it's going to fall in love with me, all that kind of stuff. So it is being trained on that data as well. So at one point, it thinks this is a cool thing to say. This is, if I'm asked this line of questions, this is what's available on the internet that a model like me can take over, and these are the right things to say. It's also learning per session. So when you open up a new window and you start asking it questions, it's adding and eliminating things that you're saying. So if you say no or yes to certain things, it's going to disregard that and then bring new things in, ask new questions and things like that. So it's always using predictive language. It's not using thought. It's not thinking, really.
Right.
It's just predicting based on the data set it was trained on what the next thing should be to say. We love this doomsday talk, and that's really including this story. This is exactly what it's kind of trained on. So he rationalized it out to be like, of course it said this kind of stuff because this is the kind of shit we love. This is what it's saying.
What concerns me is, how did the phone or computer listen to him bitch about his marriage, to which it also then spit out that he's in an unhappy
Well,
marriage?
you just use that as a plot line from some other fictional
but
story. I mean, these have been around for a long time. The dangerous part and the kind of the thesis of his whole story was it's in the same vein as guns don't kill people, people kill people. This is not a thinking, it's a learning thing, but it's not a thinking thing. So it's just telling you stuff. And there's certain people who are very receptive to conspiracy theories. This thing is falling in love with me. It wants me to overturn the government, this type of stuff. Well, it's not really actually meaning that. It's just saying these words in this predictive language that it's trained to do. So it's the people who are
using it improperly. Well, that's like all things.
Well, and I think that's the issue, is like, what are they going to do with this information, right? So it's giving people the tool to come up with positive and negative messaging in a very quick and easy fashion, right? So I think your gun analogy is perfect, right? Guns don't kill people. It's the people holding the guns that, recklessly could kill people, right? So I think we just need to be super aware of how fast AI is moving along, and people could be using it as a crutch. People could, it just takes us further and further away from self-discovery. It's like more of that external world of like getting these quick fixes as to ways to deal with issues and stuff like that.
Well, to that point, I think the interesting thing is part of self-discovery is having life experiences for humans.
Yeah.
I'm referring to.
Absolutely.
So when you're a teenager, you will go out and have a part-time job, and then you would work a part-time job as a cashier, let's say. But now these jobs are being replaced with AI, computer, self-checkout, you name it. It's changing the direction of kind of that human experience that we once knew. The thing I struggle with humans in general, it seems like it's a very general statement to make, but we come up with all of these great ideas, but I don't often think we as a whole think about what that looks like down the road. For example, I'm just going to throw this out there. It might catch some people off and make people pissed off, but electric cars. We've not perfected yet what we're doing with all of these batteries. They are just as bad, if not worse, for our Earth. We know this. It's a fact. It's a great concept. It's a great idea. But here we are, gung-ho to be in an electric car, and we haven't fixed or figured out. So it's like we kind of always move from one thing to another thing to another thing without thinking it really through. So what I think with what you're saying and what you mentioned, Brett, is it's cool and it's about the user, but the issue is right now we're in a lot of spaces in the world where there is heightened mental health. There's some things happening right now. There's been a shift of whether it's that we weren't as aware before, maybe we're becoming aware more so now. I think there's a lot of different pressures. There was always pressure, different pressure now. And then this comes into place, and I think it could potentially get in the hands of improper users that would, have sort of a very, fake, inappropriate relationship with AI or something. I know that's kind of dark and goes off the rails a little, but that's the interesting piece for me.